Hey everybody, it's Ricardo with Gathering Magic, and today we're going to be opening a pre-release booster pack. Now, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make it to the pre-release itself. I did get this from a pre-release, but I had a drop. I'm going to be working with Gathering Magic tomorrow in regards to their stream that they're going to be doing all weekend, and so I'll be doing all that. But I still wanted to go ahead and show you guys what you're able to get out of these and, the kind of deck that you're able to make. So I'm going to go ahead and bust these open, and then we're going to go ahead and take a look at, what I come up with for a deck. So let's go ahead and get started. One thing that comes down to with this plastics, it's always incredibly stubborn, so be aware of that. Otherwise, these are sweet little boxes. There's no clans or anything this time around, so let's go ahead, see here. Is this seal it? No. Just gonna slide this thing out. Prepare to face a natural disaster. My promo is Oran Reef Hydra. The promo only comes just the one card. So, yeah, just one card. Alright, here we have several booster packs. And then we got our little kit here, building a sealed deck. These are really cool. These are really good for the newer players. It tells you exactly what you got to be doing. And it kind of gives a little bit of story for Zendikar, so that's good. So without any more delay, let's go ahead and start opening our packs, starting with Gideon. Alright, so first we have Altar's Reap, Plummet, which is a really good sideboard card, Coralhelm Guide, Myers Malice, Lava Step Raider, Kozilek's Channeler, McKindy Slide Runner, Courier Griffin, Smite the Monstrous, Rolling Thunder. This card's sweet. It's a massive blowout if your opponent's going wide. You can just ping all the little guys right off. It's really good. Hagra Sharpshooter, Retreat to Hagra, Ruinous Path, Blighted Woodlands, Plains, Octopus Token. Alright, so the rare that we got was Ruinous Path. This is a very, very good removal spell. Destroy target creature or planeswalker. And on top of that, if we draw a late game, we can animate one of our lands into a 4/4. The land gets haste. It's really good. So that was an awesome pack for us. Let's go ahead and start with another. Let's go ahead and go on to an Eldrazi Duder, Salvage Drone, a Swarm Surge, Call of the Scions, Cliffside Lookout, Volcanic Upheaval, which is going to be really good because you can respond to awaken spells by blowing out their lands. And sometimes you blow out the whole spell, so that's good. Eyeless Watcher, Rush of Ice, Silent Skimmer, Mortuary Mire, Natural Collections for Ramp, Forerunner of Slaughter, Fire Mantle Mage, Pilgrim's Eye, really good reprint, and a Woodland Wanderer. This is a 2/2 with Vigilance and Trample. And as Converge, he enters the battlefield with a 1/1 counter for each mana, or each color of mana spent to cast it, so he can come into play as a maximum of a 6/6 for 4 mana. That's assuming that you have 4 different colors of land, so it's really good. We have a Swamp, and then we have our tip card. So let's go ahead and move on to our next pack, Mr. Obnixilis. A little savage with opening these packs, sorry, ladies and gents. We have a Clutch of Currents, Culling Drone, Goblin Warpaint, Core Castigator. This guy's actually amazing because he can't be blocked by Eldrazi Scions, and he's a 3/1 for 2. So you don't have to worry about him getting chumped. They have to actually use a dude. So we have Skyline Cascade, Eldrazi Sky Spawner, Rune Processor, Bone Splinters. This is pretty good if you're making a whole bunch of little tokens. Very, very good. Broodhunter Worm, Zulaport Cutthroat, another Blighted Cataract, Retreat to Emeria, and a Part the Water Veil. That's amazing. Ooh, we have some sauciness back there. So Part the Water Veil, it's the take extra turn spell. It has Awaken 6. It's awesome. So we're going to be able to use this to make a big dude and take an extra turn. This can be a blowout, but in limited, it's just a time walk. So some of the times it's not very good. And we have a Shiny Island and then a Forest. So obviously I have to build blue-green now because I have to use this island, and this forest kind of came with Eldrazi Scion. So I'm sure by someone's giving me a sign to play these colors, so I'm going to go ahead and see what I can do with this island. It is awesome that I got a foil one. I'm very stoked. But let's go ahead and see what else I get out of my packs. Next, we'll go on to Miss Kiora. So let's take a look at Miss Kiora here. We have a Royal Mage Trick, Dutiful Return, Swell of Growth, an Outnumber, Angelic Gift, Sandstone Bridge, Tajuru Beastmaster, Demon's Grasp, Skyline Cascade. We're getting a lot of these lands. These lands are actually really good. You know, the white one, let me go ahead and pull it back up. The white one says, you know, we can buff a creature and give it vigilance. And while it might seem like subpar, for one turn for combat, this can be a massive trick. And we have Skyline Cascade, which can, you know, freeze one of our opponent's creatures so they can't block with it, and we just get in for some damage. So, well, hang on. Target creature an opponent controls doesn't untap. So it doesn't tap their creature, it just makes it so they don't untap. So if they have like a mana dork or whatever, it stays tapped. So that's, you know, it's not the worst thing ever, and it can stop your opponent from swinging in with, you know, one of their, you know, giant Eldrazi creatures. Speaking, well, this guy's actually pretty small and minuscule, but Eldrazi Sky Spawner, we have Grove Rumbler, Dampening Pulse, Ulamog's Nullifier, and a Brutal Expulsion. This card's pretty sweet. For 2, a blue, see we can use the island, and a red, this is a colorless instant that says choose one or both, return target spell or creature to its owner's hand, or it deals 2 damage to target creature or planeswalker. If that permanent would be put into the graveyard, exile it instead. So when exiling things, it's really good if you have processors, so we might be ending up using this. And then we got a mountain and a core ally. So very sweet pack. Let's go ahead and move on to our next one using Mr. Core Ally something or another here. Hoping to get some kind of sweet expedition. That would be insane for you guys. We have a Nirkana Assassin, a Seek the Wilds, Oracle of Dust, Outnumber. It's a pretty good removal spell actually. Like deal damage to target creature equal to the number of creatures you control. Like if you're just going wide, 1 red mana instant, this can really just destroy somebody really fast. Fortified Ramparts, another Sandstone Bridge. We have a Cloud Manta, a fish. We have a fish, ladies and gentlemen. We have Scour from Existence, Grave Birthing, Brute Hunter Worm, Expedition Envoy, a 2/1, 1 mana cost ally. That's really important. So it's a Savannah Lion with the ally creature type. So this can be a very, very good card if you get multiples of them. As they're 2/1s, they can just block and kill most 2-drops or sometimes even 3-drops. But because Scions now have, or Eldrazi spawns are now Scions, they can also chump block this guy, and you know it might not gain you too much of an advantage. It's a hit or miss, but I mean a 1-mana ally is really good. Next we have Void Attendant, we have Retreat to Emeria, and we have Munda. This is actually the guy that we spoiled here at Gathering Magic, so I'm kind of happy that I got him. That's really cool. He's really good if you have a lot of allies, like you know the guy that we just saw, Expedition Envoy, and it also synergizes super duper well with Retreat to Emeria, because we can use this to put allies on the battlefield to trigger Munda. So we might be building something red-white, it just really depends on the rest of the stuff that we get. And we also got the same Art Island, so clearly a sign he's going to have to go with blue. I'm telling you, I'm going to have to build a blue deck, guys and girls. So let's go ahead and move on to our last pack, Mr. Gideon Jura. If he is in this, then I will be stoked. Well, not Gideon Jura, but you know what I mean. Let's go ahead and take a look. Starting off strong with a Plummet, Coral Helm Guide, Myers Malice, Tajuru Stalwart. I hate that word. It's so hard to pronounce. Like, for some of you, you're probably going to argue otherwise, but Tajuru, like, I hope that's correct. We have a Shatterskull Recruit, Felidar Cub, Ondu Champion, McKindy's Slide Runner, Gideon's Reproach, Lifespring Druid, a Rot Shambler, Crumble to Dust, Horribly Auri, and an Akum Hellkite. This is a 4/4 flying dragon with landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield, it deals 1 damage to target creature or player. If that land is a mountain, it deals 2 damage to that creature or player instead. Now, for 6 mana, a 4/4 flyer is pretty, like, it's not exactly where you want to be at 6 mana, but its landfall trigger is super duper relevant. So, let's see. We got a land. It is a Plains. Womp womp. And then we have an Eldrazi Scion. Another token, another victory. And then we have our sweet handy dandy little dice. So I'm going to go ahead and build a deck real quick, and you know, we'll get back to it. I do believe that these promos are available to use. I didn't go over this guy. Let me read what he does real fast. He's a 6 mana, 5/5 with trample. His landfall trigger states that whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on the Hydra. If it is a forest, put 2 on it instead. So there's a lineup of creatures that do this with landfall. So hopefully, you know, he's going to see a lot of play, you know, at pre-releases, because I feel like this card can be incredibly good. Because when you're playing a green deck, you're going to have mainly forest. Like, nobody plays, like, splash green, with the exception of, like, some white-green decks from, like, last block. But most of the time when you play green, you're playing tons of forests. So I'm going to go ahead and make a deck real fast, and we will cut right back. Alright everyone, I'm back, and I'm going to go ahead and go over my Naya Allies deck that I was able to build. Unfortunately, no blue, so I can't play my foil island, but I still have it off there to the right. So let's go ahead and take a look at my creatures, then we'll go over my removal, then we'll go over my ramp. First off, we do happen to have a Expedition Envoy, a 2-1 for 1 white, and he has an ally, so that's pretty good, pretty self-explanatory. We happen to have here 2 McKindy Slide Runners. These are 2-1s with Trample, with Landfall, but they get 1-1, and a Core Castigator, which can't be blocked by Scions, and he's a 3-1 for 1 and a white. Very, very good card. Next up, we happen to have our Fire Mantle Mage. Fire Mantle Mage is a 2-2 for 3 mana, and his rally trigger gives all creatures you control Menace. So that's pretty threatening if you have a board full of dudes. Next up is my 4-drops. I have Munda, Grove Rumbler, Woodland Wanderer, and an Untitled Champion. These are all going to be incredibly good for my thematic deck, and one really awesome thing about my 4-drops is it also includes my Retreats to Emeria. Retreat to Emeria is a 4-mana enchantment that says, landfall, put a 1-1 white ally white ally creature token onto the battlefield, or creatures you control get +1/+1. Now, having 2 of these is very, very good for me because my Munda will help me find all of my other allies. Next, we have our 5 and 6 drops. We have here a Shatter Skull Recruit, and then we have a Tajuru Beastmaster. The Beastmaster is probably our biggest bomb that we have in our deck as a 5/5 with Rally. Give creatures you control +1/+1 until the end of turn. Now, if I play a land and I get 2 allies off of my Retreat to Emeria, then we're going to be able to get +2/+2, and then any other allies I play that turn. So this is going to be a super, super big blowout and a big overrun if I'm able to get it off. Next, let's go ahead and move on to my removal. For my removal, I happen to have 2 Outnumbers, 1 Rolling Thunder, and 1 Gideon's Reproach. And these are all really good because I'm going to have a ton of creatures with my Retreat to Emeria's making tons of tokens, and all my ramp spells, with the exception I think of 2, are able to make creatures. So let's go ahead and take a look at my ramp really fast. For my ramp, I happen to have 1 Natural Connection, 1 Call of Scion, 1 Eyeless Watcher, 1 Lifespring Druid, and 1 Void Attendant. Now these are all incredibly good because not only are they going to ramp me and propel me into the game, but they're also going to put a whole bunch of creatures into play that can do so as well. And they all have powers and toughness, so they'll be able to work really well with my Beastmaster, and they're also going to work really, really well with Retreat to Emeria. Because like I said before, creatures you control get +1/+1 on landfall triggers. That's pretty dope. And we have our Fire Mantle Mage, which also gives our creatures Menace. So having to block all of my creatures is going to be really hard most of the time. Next, we're going to go to my only combat trick that I really have. We have here a Swell of Growth. Swell of Growth, I actually overlooked this card. I forgot that I totally pulled it. The way that it works is an instant for 1 and a green. It says target creature you control gets +2/+2 until the end of the turn. You may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. This card's incredibly powerful for 2 mana, and I'm stoked that I got 1. I wish I got more at common. You think I would, but unfortunately I only got the 1. Next up, let's go ahead and go over my lands. I ran 17 lands and 23 spells. So for my uncommons, I happen to have here Sandstone Bridges, and I also have 1 Blighted Woodland. I have 6 forests, 5 mountains, 3 plains. Now, I do have a lot of double red drops. Rolling Thunder, for instance, is 1. Then we have the Shatter Skull Recruit. Then we have Untitled Champion. So it's very important for me to hit double red when I need it on curve. And on top of that, we have all of our little guys here that'll ramp us into those colors that I need. So it shouldn't be too big of a problem to get the mana that I need. I probably could have actually even splashed blue if I really needed it, but I had such a powerful Naya base that I didn't necessarily need it. Lastly, let's go ahead and go over my sideboard cards. I found 4 cards that really stuck out to me. I have 2 Plummets, 1 Smite the Monstrous, and 1 Felidar Cub. The Felidar Cub is just naturalized on the sacrifice stick, and he's a 2-1, so, we got the power and toughness there for 1 and a white. So that's all I have for you today. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to get in some games, but I was able to open this sweet pool, and I was able to show you guys exactly what the power of Battle for Zendikar Sealed could be. So, like I said, I'm going to be doing streaming on Saturday and Sunday at 2 o'clock for Maitland Cool Stuff Games. You can always go ahead and take a look at us there, and if there's any other questions or concerns, feel free to go ahead and ask them in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching here at Gathering Magic.